as the post 9/11 generation separates and retires, are going to transition into government roles. That is going to happen. It is happening. There's like 7 Navy SEALs running for Congress in the 22 election cycle. And then we've got this guy. Twitter locks out retired Green Beret congressional candidate over pro-Second Amendment tweet. Or is that the whole story? Let's see. We've got retired U.S. Army Green Beret and congressional candidate Joe Kent was locked out of his Twitter account for hours last week over a tweet defending American Second Amendment rights. But let's see if it was that cut and dry. The Republican candidate for Congress in Washington State was suspended for more than 8 hours for apparently violating the social media platform's rules. Just remember, guys, as of today, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and these other companies are being used to hire human smugglers to traffic people over the border, to commit all kinds of insane crimes. And Twitter was where ISIS thrived. When I was fighting ISIS, not only was I at war with ISIS, I was at Twitter war with ISIS. Okay, so this is absolutely not a company that I have any respect for. I don't believe if they say that they stand up for, information and truth and rightness and any of morality. I don't believe them on any of those aspects, okay? It's just not true. Twitter's a dumpster fire company. So is Facebook. And it's not that these companies necessarily should be canceled or shut down because they're just, not ethical, although you could make an argument there, I'm sure. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. My beef comes when they claim to be. When they claim to be the standard of ethics and truth, and, ISIS and drug smugglers and human traffickers use their platform to distribute and create crime and illegal content and all that stuff. Anyway, off my soapbox here. Today, I was suspended for defending 2A and calling out Washington State's COVID policies, including the potential of forced quarantine. I will never stop defending our Second Amendment and fighting COVID mandates, Kent tweeted on Thursday after the suspension. He says, today I was suspended for defending 2A and all that on a tweet. He says, when I get elected to Congress, I will help break up big tech. Popular buzzword. He seems to be running on the Trump President Trump policy train, the America First, the Make America Great Again campaign, where a lot of politicians are just riding those exact same talking points, those exact same ideas, and they're going to try to, get into politics via that path. Pretty easy path, I would say. He says, when I get elected to Congress, I'll break up big tech. And in that tweet, he wrote, we will never give up our guns. Gun laws are infringements. So this is the tweet that got him suspended. We will never give up our guns. Gun laws are infringements of our God-given rights. Washington State is back at it. A week ago, we caught a board of health discussing forced quarantine. Now the legislature going after our Second Amendment. No Second Amendment plus forced quarantine equals Australia. So if you guys have seen what's going on in Australia, it seems that there are, definitely a lot of protests and resistance to COVID policies and mandates and all that stuff. I'm not an expert on what's going on in Australia. I've seen it on the news. The deal here seems to be that he wrote a tweet that was combining COVID and Second Amendment, which the internet definitely hates. I'm probably getting canceled right now as we speak. Initially, Twitter did not provide any details on the offending tweet, which that they do not do. Like when I got a strike on YouTube here, nothing, got no information. But speaking to Breitbart News, Kent speculated that his suspension was due to his criticism of President Joe Biden's recklessly escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine. He claims that his suspension is without cause. In the past 24 hours, I've tweeted my concerns about Biden recklessly escalating tensions with Russia over Ukraine. It's clear Twitter is trying to silence credible voices that are questioning Biden's disastrous foreign policy. If you guys aren't following Twitter, Jack Dorsey, CEO, was replaced by somebody new. I don't remember that person's name, but they've been going through a lot of changes over there. I'm not sure what's going on with Twitter. I don't really tweet, so I'm not really sure how Twitter handles this type of stuff. What is typical behavior versus atypical behavior? This is big tech limiting my voice as an American and as a political candidate. It's very telling that they focused on me over my take on an issue that has bipartisan establishment and mainstream media support, another war. The establishment is craving war and won't tolerate dissent. That's from Kent here, who's running for Congress like we were talking about. Now, there is special rules for public officials and social media. Like there's definitely guidance on how public officials should behave on social media, how their social media pages should be. I don't think that it's very good. It doesn't make a lot of sense, the fact that Twitter is like the official platform by which people spread important news like alerts of disaster, attacks, earthquakes, fires, floods, right? Twitter is like the official source of information. I've seen a lot of maybe active shooter situations that are being declared unsafe and then safe via Twitter updates from the official entities, like the Naval Hospital in San Diego. When there was an active shooter alert there, and we covered this story, they ended up saying, active shooter alert, shelter in place. Should Twitter be the place that you get your active shooter alerts from? What if you don't have Twitter on your phone? Like, it seems like a completely broken system for sure. The government should have their own .gov type situation here where people can get the information from their elected officials and representatives. That's my personal belief here. But until they do so, they're using Twitter, Facebook, I don't know, MySpace, whatever, to get probably not MySpace, to get the word out. So we'll see. Is this, and I ask you now, do you believe that Twitter has a beef against conservatives or Republicans, and that they are more likely to ban conservatives or Republicans for speech than they are liberals or maybe social, civil rights, social justice organizations? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. So Kent is a critic of the permanent ruling class, telling Breitbart that his disgust for the establishment and his support for President Donald Trump is what pushed him to run for Congress. He said Trump tried to get troops out of Syria for the first time, and we all saw what happened after that. Defense Secretary Mattis and the rest of the permanent ruling class in the Pentagon and the government turned against President Trump in an effort to keep our troops overseas and deployed. Ken said, adding that Trump was restoring the will of the American people to Washington, D.C. and doing the right thing for the security of our country. Now, I'm not a Washington bureaucrat, and I'm not a general, and I don't know too many people who are. I have noticed this kind of turn on Mattis and a lot of the other generals and a lot of the other military. People have really fallen out of favor with, or generals and, flag star officers have really fallen out of favor with the public. And I do wonder sometimes, without a doubt, without question, there's corruption and nefarious activity and fraud and all that stuff going on. But I also wonder how many of these decisions to keep troops in the Middle East was out of a sense of duty to those countries. Like, we've been in there, we've had troops fighting in there. Maybe people are too attached. Maybe people are too close to the problem and just can't let it go. I don't know. Just something to think about. I'll leave you guys with that, and you can leave me a comment on how all that made you feel. Love to hear it. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching that clip from our live show. We're live right here on YouTube, Sunday through Thursday, 1800 Pacific Standard Time. If you want, come on by, join the chat. I'd love to hear from you. If you like that video and you want to see more, consider checking out this video right here or subscribing to the channel with this button right here. I look forward to talking to you really soon. I'm out for now.